Sure shot, baby!
So, good day, everyone. We're here for another episode of the DVD show. So, for today, we have one of the former De La Salle Green Archers and now a current power forward and one of the best big men now in the PBA, playing for the Phoenix Super LPG. And I'll now welcome here to the DVD show, Jason Perkins. Thank you for joining me here on my podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so I wanted to first ask how have you been doing? I mean, you guys unfortunately didn't make it far this conference with a slew of injuries that you guys incurred with some of your key players like Vic Manuel, and you did have Banquero and Wright for some parts of the conference. And now, since you have time to relax before the import conference in next
Yeah.
month, I believe, what have you been doing in order to relax and chill first?
I just got back from vacation the other day from Bohol, but I've just been hanging out with my family in the weight room, working out. I haven't hit the court yet, but I think we start practice next week. But yeah, I've just been relaxing with the family. Really, I didn't even know we had an import conference next conference. I'm not on social media at all, really. So yeah, I'm just the other priority other than basketball is my family. So I've just been doing that as well.
Yeah. So you mentioned like you're a lot of family time now in this whole pandemic. It's been over 1.5 years already, and that's what some of the athletes did not really have when it was in the normal times. Because yeah, you guys have a lot of practices, extra
Yeah,
work, and games. But then for you, what's like one thing you really learned about yourself and about maybe your family in this whole time of pandemic?
yeah. Pretty much just my priorities, I guess. Before I'd always have this thing of, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. So right now, in my point in life, I figure if I can um, focus on the minute things, or aren't really minute, but I guess of what I do, and just limit down limit my priorities, basketball, family, and I'm not too busy with school right now because we're
Mhm.
done with the term. We're on break right
Yeah.
now, but yeah, I'm finally during lockdown. I went back to LaSalle trying to finish school, and luckily I'm almost done now. So just those three things, and also growth. Really investing in myself, and trying to grow as a person and a father and a basketball player.
Yeah. You mentioned that you went back to school in LaSalle. How many units do you still need to take before finishing your degree?
I have, I think, around 10 to 13 more units, I guess.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I just have thesis and all of it. All other classes are my major courses. So yeah, I'm pretty much almost done. I didn't think I would actually finish school. I'm the first one in my family to graduate. So it's happening. I'm excited, and yeah, I'm super surprised I'm finishing school. I wasn't expecting it. So
Yeah, what gave you that urge to actually try to finish it? Because others they don't get the motivation to continue it anymore since yeah you're already at the professional level, you're earning money, you have a family. What
yeah.
gave you the motivation or the inspiration to finish?
I guess there's three things. First, I would always. My dad would have me watch WNBA when I was younger, just for
Mhm.
fundamentals, because it's a very lateral game
Yeah,
versus vertical. So,
yeah.
and then I would watch Lisa Leslie, and Lisa Leslie, when she was drafted into the WNBA, she told herself she would go back to school. And Arnold Van Opsel used to always say that back in the style is, you can basketball is limited.
Hmm.
You can there's only a certain amount of time to play basketball, but you can always go back to school. And during lockdown, I was trying to take coding classes,
Okay.
but it was so frustrating. I was like, man, I got to figure out something else. And surprisingly, the next day, I was talking to our team manager. His name's Rafi Villavicencio. And I'm
Oh
close
yeah,
friends
yeah.
with his son, Alec Villavicencio. And they're like, oh, you should go back to
Mhm.
school. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just do it. And then we have uh, a great staff in OSD. Her name's Miss
Mhm.
Grace. She helped me go back to school too. She made the process so easier. So once I was enrolled, it was smooth sailing from there. school's not as egregious and tough when it's online.
Mhm.
Like for example, our fitness class was Mobile Legends.
Yeah, same. Yeah, me
Yeah.
also. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, waking up in the morning and turning on the computer and being able to go to class in your underwear, that makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure, I could relate to that. And it was strange at first. I was like, yeah, physical education classes, but we're playing Mobile Legends. But then I enjoyed it. I never played that game before until I took PE in this online
Yeah,
setting. It was fun, and you actually get to learn more about your group mates also because you need to be teammates with them in when playing and have a strategy. So it's something very different in this pandemic. And I like also that, yeah, you prioritize education. Like maybe you could play at best 40, 45 years old and you still have life after that. So at least now that you have a like degree, you could also use it and pursue other things that you'd want to do in your life. What's your degree, by the way? Is it like business also?
sports management. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
sports management.
yeah. So
I mean, school for me is I'm blessed enough to have a free education.
yeah,
So, who would I be to tell? Like I was talking to Abueva in the bubble a lot. Like he said, who would we to be to not tell our kids to go to school, and then our education's free at that,
yeah.
and it's so opportunistic. So, who are we to tell our kids to go to school if we don't do it? So
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a great mindset for you guys to have, despite
yeah,
being successful already at the professional level. I think you guys want to finish it. Like I think Coach Topex also told CJ Perez because he was this player before in Lyceum that you have 12 units left. Come on, it's like a few. You should finish it. I mean, you don't need to finish it now, but at some point you need to finish it
yeah,
because
yeah.
yeah, parang
That's why,
sayang.
that's why I love Coach Topex.
Yeah.
He wants us to grow not only as basketball players but as people, as men, as fathers. In the beginning, before we started season, he would allow me to. So I'm taking layups or doing sprints. In the middle of a sprint, if we have a 30-second water break, he'll let me go back to attend my class every break. Just to make sure I
Yeah.
take my notes and hear
Yeah.
my teacher has to say. So then I put my phone back down and
Yeah.
then come back to practice for 10 more minutes. Go back to my phone, listening.
Yeah, that's funny. But then at least he still, prioritizes it. Like, he gives the importance of school, which is not everyone's priority at when you're already at the PBA. That's great for you guys. But then going back to the bubble, you mentioned that you guys didn't really you guys didn't really achieve the success that you wanted. I mean, you individually you still played well and one of the best power forwards in the bubble, arguably even the best if others would want to argue that. But I wanted to ask, was it difficult for you actually because you guys played in Inares for like the first few games when it was better, and then we went to ECQ, you guys took a hiatus, and then after a month you played again, and then you guys had players that were injured in and out of the lineup. I mean, yeah, Banquero, right, and Manuel, and
Yeah,
then Justin Chua didn't get to play in the game against Ginebra, the knockout game. It's tough
yeah.
for like a team with no continuity, even if you're talented. So, what were your initial thoughts on your team as the whole in the whole conference?
I I'm when it, me personally, if I'm not winning, I'm never satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
In the moment, nobody likes to win.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes to lose. Like any competitor doesn't like losing, but that's a part of the game. Especially now with the times during COVID, the only sure thing is change.
Yeah,
It's gonna be we knew a lot that there's gonna be a lot of tough hills, and that's the times right now. It's just it's up and
yeah,
down. Not everything's smooth sailing. There's gonna be a lot of unexpected stuff, and Coach Topex knew that, and we knew that. But that's a part of basketball is injuries and everything. But I'm proud of my guys. There was a lot of tough times, but everyone tried to stick together through the
mm-hmm.
times and just keep pushing. And if you don't win, something to be satisfied with is everyone at least trying their best.
Yeah. And it's kind of tough. You guys had like Nick DeMusis and Algin Melesio and Larry Muyang. You guys had rookies that provided some spurts wherein they were very successful and they were providing a great spurt off the bench to help the starters. But yeah, it was kind of tough because the starters weren't complete as well. And yeah, that's still a great potential for you guys to succeed in the import conference, especially if you get the import, like if you get like Eugene Phelps again or something of that caliber.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be great,
Ex-
great for you guys.
exactly. That's what I'm. From I always say I'd rather be wrong. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right.
Yeah.
So I try to think positives of situations, because if we're negative about it, it's not going to help us. Like you said, for next conference, we want to come back stronger, and we put our heads down and complain. So I
Mhm.
see last conference, like even though we lost, maybe it was a stepping stone for us to a championship next conference. You never know.
Mhm. Yeah. And for the hiatus, it was tough because it was like a month and you guys had games ready and then hiatus. So what if some teams or some players from your team didn't like keep in shape and then you guys resume right away? It was tough. But then individually for you, and maybe if like some as a team, like what did Coach Topex do and you as an individual do to try to still keep in shape and have that mindset of preparing for the opponents, especially if you don't know who you're gonna play next. But like the schedule, they give it out like only a few days in advance or something, so you don't know who you're going to go against. And the games are you can play in like 3 games in 5 days, something like that. How is it for you guys?
It's an uncomfortable feeling,
Mhm.
as a team, because you don't want to complain or be negative, because it's not going to help our situation if
Mhm.
you're trying to win, because nobody's going to feel bad for you guys, because it
Mhm.
happens to the next team as well, and everyone else. We're all playing under the same roof, same schedule, same gym.
Mhm.
So that's something I learned last bubble, is those teams that if you complain and you don't like your situation, it's probably not going to turn out good for you.
Yeah.
So Coach Topex is a good leader, and even not even Coach Topex, a lot of other players, RJ, Matt,
Mhm.
CB, Vic, just staying positive and looking towards the next game. But yeah, there was times, I think, when we played Talking Tex, we didn't find out we were playing them until the day before
Yeah.
the game. But luckily, since I've been in the league for so long, that's been a part of my maturity process. Is always it's in my job title to be prepared. To the
Mhm.
athlete, even in the off season for the month, Coach Topex had us do online workouts, and we had a schedule and everything. But
Mhm.
I believe, as a professional basketball player, it's in our job. We should be prepared to always be in shape.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
Even I believe if they called me anytime in the off season, I should be prepared to
Mhm.
play, because that's my job. And I don't think anyone should be coming back in the season out of shape, even if the coaches or whoever tells them to run or have good cardio, or
Mhm.
not. I believe it's all of our responsibility.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you are a player that really keeps in shape despite all the circumstances like the pandemic, the lack of availability of gyms or courts. But then for you in the whole pandemic, what was the biggest struggle in terms of basketball? Like was it like the motivation to continue working out, or which part of your game did you didn't know which part of your game to
Yeah.
enhance your abilities in? What was the toughest part for you? Because there's a lot of possible uh, what do you call this possibilities for you to have a difficult time. So what was yours personally?
Probably just getting in the gym and getting shots up, because I'm assuming maybe some players didn't follow rules or something, but they're advised to stay at
Yeah.
home. And I have a family, and I'm living with my in-laws, and I couldn't get in the gym to get shots up. So
Oh, okay.
before the season, I barely shot any, so I just had to rely on my physical abilities. So that was because a lot of my confidence comes from preparation and practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess mentally that got me, is not having the feeling of seeing the ball go through the hoop continuously, because
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm a strong believer in repetition and practice, and I didn't get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably the most difficult part. But I mean, when you get to shoot with great shooters like RJ and Matthew Wright,
Yeah.
that really helps. That really speeds up the process.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I had a little shooting coach like a week before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
I got in the gym with this guy named Matt Salem. He went to Salle as
Oh
well.
yeah. Yeah.
Really great shooter. He really helped me with my shot, and yeah, he made a big difference with it as well. Mid season.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah, but that was the toughest part, is just getting the feeling and the confidence with the basketball. Because it's weird. I need to have like a relationship with the basketball. Like I
Yeah.
need to, there's a connection, Like
Mhm.
so that was probably the toughest part.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I haven't played recently. I mean, I play here in the village, but then that's different from playing 5-on-5, like shooting the ball alone or with only a couple of people from your village. It's really different
Yeah,
than playing in a court, like how you guys were able to play in Clark and then Inares before the ECQ. But
yeah,
I wanted to ask also your thoughts because personally, it was tough for me. Like, I'm not really like I'm a huge Abueva fan, and he was previously on your team, and I got surprised that you guys were able to offer him an extension, and then he got traded right away. And for me, yeah, it was. I think I know Chris is a great player, so I was like, okay, maybe they wanted a point guard, so I would I would be fine with that. But then personally, like now, Calvin's like the leading BPC candidate, and he could have been with you guys because you guys have a big hole now in the three position, and he was the one there already, and you guys traded him, and then you guys added Vic. I mean, Vic's a really great player also, but then he plays a similar position as you and Justin, and then you drafted Larry Muyang, so it kind of like you guys have a lot of big men already on your team instead of having Calvin, which is more balanced in my opinion. So I wanted to get your take. Like, what was your initial thoughts on that? Like, you guys have so many big men and the lack of wings and guards. But then, because you can't play all the bigs together, I mean, the four of you are really great players, but it's hard to put all of you guys and playing at the
yeah,
same time.
yeah. I was with Calvin the day before, or a couple days
Mhm.
before, and I thought we were really gonna try to build off of what we did last conference. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was really shocked. Don't get me wrong, I love Chris Banchero. That's my
Yeah.
guy. I got really close with him in the bubble.
Yeah.
I love Chris. Great basketball player, great guy. But
Mm-hmm.
just no matter who Calvin would have been traded for,
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, Calvin's a unique player. He's like a unicorn, you
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
like he's great. So I mean, I was shocked, but yeah, you're gonna have to ask Topex on that one, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
I don't know. You have to ask Topex, but I guess maybe they wanted to take it in a different direction, maybe more of a speed type of game. I'm not too sure,
yeah.
but maybe we'll see next conference too. Maybe it'll be different with the import now, and yeah,
But you personally, since you're the starting power forward and like you're arguably the second top option on your team behind Matt, and was it tough for you initially to adjust with the we had Justin, you had Larry, and you had Vic, and even you had Kyle Pascual. You had so many bigs now. Was it hard for
yeah.
you or not much of an adjustment?
No, it wasn't much of adjustment. Because I believe I play positionless basketball,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I, I I really work on my game. I think I can dribble, I can shoot, I can run, I can push around big men, and I just can't. I can't run with like the small little fast guys. Like I'm 240. I'm not gonna lie to myself on that. I can't do that. But
Yeah.
I can believe I can do a lot. So I think the tough part I had was playing off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if I'm playing on the wing, I think the way Calvin grabs rebounds as a small forward and mixes up in there,
Yeah.
I I don't know. It's really tough to do. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that tough type of stamina. I guess I don't know how
Yeah,
he does it. I
Calvin's a
don't know how he
different
does it.
animal. No one
Yeah,
can be like him. It's like only
yeah,
Scotty Thompson, maybe, or Cliff Hodge, Sean Anthony. Only a few people.
yeah. It's really weird how he does it. But
Hmm.
yeah, the adjustment wasn't too crazy for me. It wasn't too
Yeah.
much. So, and even if I do have a hard time with it, I see it as I'll grow as a basketball player.
Hmm.
Um, I don't believe in being comfortable all the time.
Hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, I felt uncomfortable at first playing the three, but
Hmm.
that's when I feel that feeling of uncomfort. I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right here. I must be
Hmm.
growing. You know,
Yeah.
I must be feeling that resistance versus sometimes me and my personality, if I'm comfortable, maybe I'll relax a little too much
Hmm.
versus my development as a person and a player. So I think I needed that little comfort too. So
Yeah, okay, that's a great perspective from you. That I didn't really see coming from that you guys that you when you feel uncomfortable, it's actually you're actually feeling that you're improving as a person or as a player. So that's great to hear from you.
Yeah.
But I think one episode of Mikey Reyes' podcast, the first one, I think he guested. He was your trainer, I think, or he is your trainer, Mark Gelly, and he said the story on how hardworking you were, especially since LaSalle, like in the latter part of your career, you weren't used as much when you were with Coach Juno, and then entering the league, you were fourth pick, like you were picked after Raymar Jose, and then the draft they were talking about C Stan, Kiefer, Jeron, like you weren't really not much of the people that were talked about in the media. But then
Yeah.
he was saying how you were very hardworking. And can you like tell the story of like he was saying that you went to Shangri-La at like 2 a.m. or like how hardworking are you with Coach Mark and you really practice in Shangri-La even if it's like 2 a.m. 3 a.m. How's
Yeah.
that? And how would you
Um,
predicate your success also in your individual success with how hardworking you were training at that time?
yeah. I guess well, while I was in LaSalle, my mom is a very hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
She worked night shifts, like she's always working.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had to watch myself. So being around her, I just developed a really tough working mindset. Also, my girlfriend at the time, she wakes up at like 4 a.m. to work out. So a lot of times I'm up at 4 a.m. too. But
Mm-hmm.
when I was in LaSalle, one of the coaches told me like they were trying to hurt my confidence, but I mean it didn't work. I mean maybe a little bit. They were telling me like, oh, you're not going to get drafted in the top 2 rounds, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So that last year in LaSalle, I was kind of just focusing on school. I was like, okay, let's see how many credits I can get.
Mm-hmm.
And then after school, I was ready to go home,
Mm-hmm.
ready to fly back out. And Mark Jelly, I met him. We started working out, and we had a discussion. We were like, hey, let's just try it out. Let's just give everything we have and see how it works out. And this guy's hard work is so crazy. He is wild, and that was contagious for me. And that turned into a habit. It rubbed off on me, and it turned into a habit. I was a lot of times my alarm would set off at 3:30 every day, and that first 10 minutes of waking up really early is really tough. And
Yeah.
every time this guy motivates me so much because I would say, who am I that my trainer and coach is working harder than I am?
Yeah.
So I had ego where I was like, hey, that's not happening. I'm never
Mm-hmm.
going to call this guy and say canceling. So we would be up at, we would be in the gym at 4:30 in the morning, hopping. What's ironic is Coach Topex. I couldn't find any gyms
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't going to play D League, and then Bullock called me up. Robert Bullock at the time he was at Sun Beta. He wanted me on his D League team, so
Yeah.
he called me up and was like, "Hey, let's get together and let's play together one last time." So I was like, "All right, whatever, I'll try it out." So I flew back from the States,
Okay.
and then when I got back, me and Mark started training again, and my practice with San Beda was at like 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had school in the afternoon and then weights later in the day. So the only time I can get in the gym was early in the morning. So yeah, I couldn't find a gym. So at Shangri-La, when we're shooting at 2 a.m. or early in the morning at like 5, that's easy. Like the beginning of the journey when I don't really have too much money and I'm spending all my money on like taking the tricycle to the gym and then the jeepney back to San Beda. Then the tricycle back to LaSalle, down to Jola. Early in the morning, me and Mark, like, the gym is so hot. We're getting bit by mosquitoes. We had to hop a fence, just to get into the gym. Ironically, Coach Topex was the only coach that would let me into his gym, and it's crazy now because he's my coach. But yeah, Mark Jelly really motivated me. That guy works really hard. Also, being in the Philippines, I've been gifted with perspective, and everyone works so hard in the Philippines. So I still have a mindset of there's people selling ice cream and bread on the street, and they have to wake up earlier than I do. And I know these guys aren't going back to the same type of room I am and living the same type of life. So who am I to complain to wake up at 3:30 to go play basketball and get paid for it versus a guy selling ice cream on the street at 3 Like there's a guy in Alabang here. He has one leg selling dirty ice cream on the street at 4 a.m. So seeing these type of people work that hard makes my job look so easy. And you know it is. Like people say, oh, it's so hard waking up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. It's like, nah, you know, I just like, who am I to complain? Like at the gym we shoot at in Lyceum, the janitor, she's in there 30 minutes before I am, mopping the floor in the pitch black dark.
Yeah.
You know, like she's the one who works hard. Like those are the type of people that motivate me and make hard work easy. And you know, waking up early or working out any time of the day, I just really enjoy. But yeah, Mark, Jelly, and seeing those people work really hard, they're very motivating for me. So
Where did that stem from? Like the appreciation of the hard work of people that are the janitors or the people selling ice cream or people that you see on the streets. Like you see them working hard even if it's only 3-4 a.m. Where did that come from? Was it more of like your upbringing or the way you were the upbringing or the way you were shaped up by your parents? Where did that come from that you're motivated based from what you see and you're observing from the outside world?
Probably my mother. My mother worked night shifts, and I almost had to take care of myself. When I was like, it wasn't allowed, but we couldn't tell people that I was at home alone because there's like a certain age limit in the States where you need to have a babysitter or something. So I think I was like 6 or 7 watching myself, like cooking my own food and getting ready to go to school. But I mean, that built the habit, I guess, of being appreciative. But probably when I came here, my mother's family, they used to live in like a little cubo in Bolina, Pangasinan, and my mom told me like, oh, this is how they were raised, and seeing people on the streets made me really appreciative. And when I was in Salle, I got close with this guy named Kuya Rodrigo. I used to always go to Tech Tight. Do you remember? I don't know.
I don't know if it's still there, but yeah, I know that place. Yeah.
When I was in Tech Tight, I used to always, college and their Happy Thursdays. We're all drinking and stuff, right? So after one night, Happy Thursday, I went to Tech Tight to play a game. I used to be heavy on Dota. After I was leaving, I was sitting on the steps in front of 7-Eleven, and this guy walked up, and we had like an hour-long conversation. And I walked back with him, and he's a tricycle driver there. You know where all the tricycle drivers are? In the alley? Yeah, his name's Kuya Rodrigo. And we had a long conversation, and he showed me perspective on his life. And we're close friends now to this day. I was talking to him yesterday. We actually message all the time. And I would go to it's not a house, but I can't really describe how he lives, but it's very different to people in America, you know, and being able to see the how big the broadness of economics is here. Like in LaSalle, you know, there's some wealthy people in LaSalle, like they got drivers and this and that. And right down the street, you know, you have kids begging for money, you know, but they don't notice each other because they don't offer the perception to see where each other's coming from. So when I saw how he was living and how he lives, you know, I just had an appreciation for how I am, and you know, even though he didn't have a lot of money, he's so happy, you know, and so appreciative. And like after the day I think we played Ginebra. We lost to Ginebra, I think. We lost the day before the Ginebra game. His mother passed away, and he was crying, and we were talking to each other. And, you know, he's still wishing me luck. He's still praising and worrying about other people, you know. So I think this guy, Rodrigo, he definitely blessed me with perception on appreciating my life situation and also understanding where others are coming from, too. Because we're all born on different spots of the race. You know, some people are born ahead of others, and I think it's important we understand that. Sorry, I'm just ranting. I go off sometimes.
Yeah, great story. Like I like the part of my podcast where it's about like life lessons and people that listen to it that are not like only basketball fans. They learn from the athlete because there's a lot of life lessons you could get from the basketball players like you. And like that, like pretend when you meet someone you don't know, like if you ignore them or if you having a bad day and you don't mind them, what if that guy was like Kuya Rodrigo and like you
Yeah,
guys became close friends? So I think I people should also learn that they should value like friendships and all these people they meet, because you never know if how deep your relationship or your friendship's gonna be and how important it is also in your life. Like I'm pretty sure he's done a lot also for you in terms of giving you advice or just talking to you in general, which is a great
yeah,
help especially now in the pandemic wherein you guys can't meet face to face, but then you can still talk through social media. So it's really great that you found someone like that also, and you of course could help him with his difficulties and the hardships he's encountering in his life, and he'll be grateful that he was able to meet you at like the middle of the night when you were playing in Tech Tide. It's such
yeah,
a
yeah.
thing you never expect.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Life is so weird, Especially like coming, especially a lot of. I mean, I don't mean to talk bad about America or anything, but a lot of Americans are very ignorant because, um, the social class there is so like the lower
Yeah,
class in America. It's still fairly good.
yeah.
And we tend to not appreciate that. Like,
Hmm.
I brought Cleo Rodrigo before we got in lockdown. I brought him to a Korean barbecue restaurant
Hmm.
in Archers, like on the top
Hmm.
floor.
Yeah, yeah.
And
There's a lot there.
he didn't want to eat in there. And I kept asking him why. It turns out because he didn't know how to. He's never seen a Korean barbecue pan before, and he didn't know how it works. So like that type of stuff, just understanding where people are coming from.
Yeah. I'm interested since you grew up in the US and you said a lot of people are wealthier there. They have a higher standard of living. But then you moved here and studied in LaSalle eventually for college, and then you played in the PBA. So there was like a big change in your life. And how does the adjustment, since like you've been grateful and you show appreciation and you share your
Yeah.
blessings to the less fortunate people here in the Philippines. But how was your adjustment also in moving from one culture to another? And I'm pretty sure it was great like now, but like initially getting ingratiated with the people here and the culture here.
Yeah. It was pretty easy for me because I was raised very Filipino in a Pinoy
Mhm.
household.
Yeah.
Uh, because my father wasn't around too much, and my mom's super. I don't know, like everything's Filipino in our household, so it wasn't too tough for me at all. But I guess maybe the tough part was the weather
Hmm.
because I'm from Minnesota and it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
But when I came here, maybe a tough part was the weather one, and also just missing your loved ones. Because when I came here, my father passed away, and I had some friends pass away, and you can't just fly over back to America like that. But
Hmm.
something that made life easy for me in LaSalle is my friends and my teammates.
Hmm.
Um, we kind of had our own little bubble or clique per se,
Yeah.
so we all keep it in the family, and I mean LaSalle is also really fun too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not really worrying about too much.
Yeah. How about, yeah, you mentioned already LaSalle, and I wanted to ask like how, because Ben, like I mentioned, I interviewed him recently in a previous episode also, and I wanted to
Who was
ask how
that? Sorry.
special. Sorry,
Who'd you say?
Ben Mbala.
Okay, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, I interviewed him recently, and he also mentioned how special it was for the Lasallian community, like especially him, because he has a lot of bashing and criticism from the other schools. And
Yeah,
he said that he was still tough, and he was like he still had the will to play properly and really relentlessly, because the Lasallian community was behind him no matter what. Like for you, what made the Lasallian community special? Like the fans and also the bond with your teammates. And you mentioned like you guys have a dorm there, like I see it all the time. And of course there's a lot of off the court stuff also, that you guys
yeah,
develop relationships and friendships that you can help each other with issues in
yeah.
life and advice and all these things. So what was special about LaSalle as a school and your teammates?
In LaSalle, the alumni is great. Even like there's LaSallians everywhere, and they always show love. They're always so appreciative for what you're contributing to the community,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those LaSallians are also very outgoing. Like with our teammates, everyone's very close. It's kind of like a club per se. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you go to LaSalle? Yeah, oh, me too. Like I met some security guard the other day in Bohol, and he was like, "Oh, what's your ID number?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is my ID number. One of the."
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, even with you, like you message.
Yeah.
Oh, I go. Oh shit, me too, man. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, probably just that type of club like mindset. Like when I was at a buffet one time and some guy just pushed me in my back like he knew me and he's like, "Animo!" I'm like, "Oh yeah, school." Like that, that type of love for one another, I guess. But I think that's in a lot of communities, a lot of schools. I see San Beda has that, Ateneo has that. A lot of schools are like that, I guess.
Yeah. How about with your team? Like you guys were very close. I mean, you had the batch of Coach Juno and Coach Alden. And how about with the off the court first? Like before the on the court success that you guys experienced in both, you won a championship with both coaches. But then with the off the court, like the bond that you guys have, and you guys are able to stay in the dorm that not maybe all the schools have with the resources and the stuff that they provide for you with also with the gear and all these things. How was that experience like for you?
I think our team was in the LaSalle years that I've been there. Our 2013 championship team was
Mm-hmm.
so unbelievably close because that was the first year One Archer's building was built, and then
Oh.
yeah, One Archer's is
I don't
sick.
remember that because I was not Salle yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little old now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they decided to put the whole basketball team on one floor, which
Mhm.
maybe isn't a good idea. Like, don't put a whole, teenagers in a condominium, you know.
So loud,
And
yeah.
yeah, so we were all there, and we would literally all leave our doors open. We would never shut our doors. So we're all basically living, really close together there. And plus, on the bottom of the building is, you know how LaSalle used to be with all the bars and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
nightlife there. Plus, you have the whole team plays Dota, so we'd all always be playing Dota. So it was at that point probably where the continuous hanging out and um, our LaSalle management is so good. They want us to be so close with one another, like brothers
Mhm.
basically. So when I first came to LaSalle, it was easy for me to get acclimated to the team because like the other a lot of Finlams that would come to the school at LaSalle, I showed up. Me and this guy named Yankee Haruna were the first ones there. So we took a trip to I think we went to Mascara in Bacolod,
Mhm.
and the alumni, they treated us there, and we had a good time, and we came back. So we were just always hanging out and doing stuff together every night. So that's where we got really close. I mean, to this day, we still talk. We have a message group. We talk all the time, messaging each other, hanging out. So
Yeah, how about with the team? You guys were not one of the teams that were expected to win it, I think, that year, especially it was like young Jeron leading the team and people weren't familiar with your game yet. And
yeah,
USD had the star power with Kareem Abdul, with Jarek Tang, Aljon Mariano. And then there were other teams that were pretty talented as well. But then you guys pulled it off with a squeaker, I think a 1 point squeaker in game 3. And
yeah.
what do you think was the expectations actually initially, like entering the season? Did you guys actually think you guys were gonna win it? And then how was the progression over the course of the whole season until you finally cracked the zero on it?
Honestly, we were so concerned with hanging out with each other every day
Yeah.
and just enjoying each other's company every day that we never spoke about basketball. Like we never spoke about basketball. If we lost, maybe on the ride home it'd be really quiet, but
Mhm.
after we're just hanging out with each other. Like that's all we were worried about is, hey, what do you guys want to do today? um,
Mhm.
we never talk about basketball. But a turning point in that conference was Co- Coach Juno. I didn't even realize we played bad first round
Mhm.
because we never acknowledged it. I think we lost like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah,
And
three,
then
four, I
second
think
round,
was your record, and then second round undefeated. Was it that one?
yeah, it was. It turned it around. It was Coach Juno got mad, and then he brought us all in. So this guy Vusochos is like, he's my guy. Like he's one of our leaders.
Yeah.
Really happy. One of the best guys I've ever met in my life. Coach Juno's like, you guys aren't even in shape yet. You guys are losing, blah blah. And then Alman, before we walk in to the group, say, hey, what do you guys want to do after practice? And then Coach Juno gets mad. And then when it's serious, Almond's like, okay lang yan, coach. We're just getting in shape now. we just started running. So Coach Juno's like, what? We're already halfway through the season and you're just getting in shape now? He's like, okay lang yan, coach. Don't worry. We're good. But yeah, after that conversation, we went undefeated, surprisingly. And yeah, I think something important about our team that year is that we were just so in the moment of playing basketball. We were just happy to play basketball with one another. Like, I think last game with UST, we were down by like 14 or 16. And when we came out of halftime, it was like nothing. Norbert, I felt really confident coming out second half. Me and Norbert looked at each other, and Norbert was like, what's up, man? I was like, hey, how you feeling? He's like, good, you? I was like, good. And we were like, all right, let's go play. They went. We won that game. But yeah, it was really, that whole time, we were just consistently laid back, but focused at the same time, too. Don't get me wrong. We were very focused.
Yeah. Since you guys were very close, and that's really an advantage. Like it's not sometimes something that people talk about. Like if you watch the NBA, right? The teams, they trade a lot of players now, so there's no continuity, there's no bond. How are you going to develop a bond? Like after 1 year, you're going to change the whole team. Like the Lakers have 11 new players in the upcoming season, something like that. But then with that squad that you guys had, the continuity and the chemistry and the bond was very evident, even for like a fan's perspective. And how is Coach Juno as a leader? Like sometimes he's just NR, like no reaction, or he doesn't really talk a lot compared to other coaches that you can see on TV. But how did he like galvanize you guys and propel you guys to reach like the paradise, like the championship?
Coach Juno is very intelligent, very, very intelligent. He would coach us to the point of where we can make our own decisions, but he would guide us to where we're making the right decisions. And something I loved about Coach Juno is he treated us like professionals. And like men, because especially he was preparing us for the PBA too. He wanted us to grow. He's kind of like Coach Topex, but more quiet and stern, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a great coach and a really good guy. But great leader. I can't really describe his coaching style because it was a little unorthodox. But he's definitely one of the best coaches I've ever had. But something also that helped us is another coach we had is LA Revelia. He was another extension of our coach. If I didn't hear Coach Juno or if I didn't agree with Coach Juno was saying, the only person I'm going to listen to is LA. If LA told me to jump, I would say how high. I really respect that guy, and super high IQ player, good guy, good leader. And he leads by example. He wouldn't tell you to do something that he wouldn't do himself. And if he doesn't know the answer to something, he's going to tell you, I don't know. But if he wants to figure it out, he'll figure it out. So.
Yeah. I like LA Revelia also. Like he encountered a lot of hardships also in his career. I don't think he got to play a lot all his playing years with LaSalle, and even in the PBA, it's kind of tough for him because of his undersized stature. But then he still cracked the league, and he was still effective in some games, scoring 20 plus points. I mean, if I think we're like the same height. If I was like him, I can't do anything like close to what he's doing. So it's really great. It's a testament to his high basketball IQ and his skill set as well, despite the undersized height. And it's really something also that maybe other teams wouldn't notice because the stat sheet, his stats aren't that high, but then his production on the team's pretty good. And you're like a real witness to that already right now.
Yeah, I think that's something people need to appreciate. Like so many people look at stats nowadays. Stats are important. That's cool, blah. But LA's playing basketball the right way, and he shouldn't be punished for that. And his IQ is high. He's playing the game how it should be played. My rookie year, I got drafted to Phoenix, and he came to Phoenix too.
Yeah,
man, he really guided me, and I really believe I wouldn't be the player I am today if it wasn't for LA. I learned a lot from LA. I asked him a lot of questions. His IQ is it's crazy. It's through the roof. It's really ridiculous how high his IQ is.
Yeah. How about Coach Judo? What's his way of like his rotation is like not that deep compared to others. Like in the finals, you guys were only what an 8-man rotation. Like he
Yeah.
puts his trust in a certain group of players. What are your thoughts on that? Do you prefer that kind of style?
Um, with Coach Juno and LA, I would have trusted anything they said at the time. But I mean, yeah, I guess the short rotation was fine. I mean, it worked. So
Yeah.
so he did something right. But I know sometimes Coach Juno, sometimes he wouldn't make the best decisions, maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes he would do things to test us, to see where we are as a player and as a person, how we measure up. And I I grew so much as a basketball player from Coach Juno. He really tested me. So he's a really intelligent person. He'll push people to their limits. He'll test them. So at that time, I wouldn't really question anything he said.
Okay, so moving on to the next part, like you guys won a championship again with Coach Alden, and you guys had Ben, you guys had Jeron, you guys had all the star powers. Like here, you guys were the target because in the other one you were like underrated and people didn't talk about LaSalle that much during the championship. But here's a different style, and for you personally, it was also kind of tough, yeah, because there were a lot of people in your position with Ben, with Prince, with Abu, and then you. So it was, and even Balti, I think, was there. So you guys were a
Yeah.
deep big man rotation. So for that team, what would you say is the reason on why you guys were still tight knit despite the star-studded team? I mean, other star-studded teams, they're like egos tend to overcome the performance. So it's gonna like be a cause for concern, and you guys are gonna start losing. But then for your team, we didn't see that. You guys just lost, I think, one game. But
Yeah.
how about on that kind of run? What was the style of Coach Alden or maybe Jeron or Ben to keep you guys tight knit?
Um, you know what? Honestly, our team wasn't as close as the 2013 team,
Mm-hmm.
but I think our team was just so talented. We were really talented, from 1 all the way down to 13 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the real games were in our practice. That's where we got close, is just competing with each other every day. I
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there was a lot of times where we would get into fights with each other, because our practices, everyone wants, you're first off, you're playing basketball, everyone's so competitive, and second, you're competing against spots against other talented guys,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone wants to play. So our practices would get really crazy, but after practice we squash it. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's where we get close and build our relationship, is just in practice competing against each other. That's why something I loved about with Ben and Abu and Balti and Prince is, Ben and Abu are stronger than I am, but
Mm-hmm.
I love contact. I love hitting people. I used to play football, so with Ben and Abu, I can hit them a little bit harder. With Prince,
Yes.
I can put some force behind it. So yeah, that's something we really enjoy. And Coach Aya wanted us to do. That's the style at the time. Is
Yeah. Yeah.
physicality, like anything goes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
tell too many. I'm not gonna tell you the bad stories, but
Yeah.
it would get bad in practice sometimes. But those were some of the best runs or games we had that season, was in practices and not really the UAAP games itself.
Mm-hmm. So how about with the practices? I think yeah, Ben also discussed it a lot. That you guys it's like deadly. That he even fought that with Coach Alden once. And he didn't know
Yeah,
how it was gonna turn out. That I think it turned
yeah,
out well eventually because you guys still won. But then he didn't know how it was gonna turn out when it was occurring. But then yeah, it was. Isn't it like tough for you guys as a whole unit for everyone to buy in? Like no one actually gave up with the practice, even if it was so tough, even if it was close to you guys fighting a lot every
yeah.
practice. How did you guys like stay composed and stay locked in despite all
Uh,
this stuff happening?
I guess winning. We're all competitors and we all want to win. And management expected us to win as well. We expect us to win. Alumni expect us to win. So I think we would have conversations where we would make sure nothing is going to get in the way of that.
Mhm.
Um, not the outside world, not our egos, not any of the variables. So something good with our team with that is we were all so focused on winning. That was our main priority, is winning. So
Yeah.
I wish we didn't lose that one game against Ateneo. Though I honestly think we should have had an undefeated season. Yeah, that was a terrible game. I don't know how that happened.
I think that was an off night. I don't even remember the game. I don't want to remember because I watched like the other games like early in the pandemic when there was no sports going on. I'd search the games on YouTube when you guys would
Yeah.
blow out opponents, and then I'd enjoy it because of course LaSalle. So I'd enjoy like Richie would like a third string forward and then he'd dunk. Then you guys are up by 30 already. It's something great to watch during that time.
Yeah. We had a crazy athletic team. Imagine Bennett and Boo at the 4 and 5, and then Duran at the 3. Like, that's ridiculous. That's a lot of testosterone in one court.
Yeah. But then one thing that was tough, in my opinion, was since I saw you play in 2013, I was religiously following that squad also. And then here you needed to take more of a backseat because you mentioned there are a lot of talented big men on the team. And for other players, that was tough. Like others would get frustrated. It would show in their game that they'd take a drop on their performance, or they'd complain to their coach, or they even fight their teammates because they're not getting the minutes or the touches that they want. Like your usage rate is lower. But then for you still remained, firm, and you were still a team player, and you were still contributing for the squad despite the limited minutes that you were given. So how did you have that mindset, and was it also tough for you, like mentally during the time?
At first, because that was the first time I've had to experience when I played AAU in the States, we had all D1 guys. That time I wasn't playing at all. So I guess from that time when I was younger, I got to apply the same things to college. Besides a basketball player, I don't have too much of an ego. I'm a good guy at the end of the day, or I like to think I am at least. So I like to tell myself that. So I'm going to be a good teammate. I'm going to do what I can to help my team. If I have to be the loudest one on the bench, and sometimes you have to set your ego aside, and you don't have to be the character that you think you are. I'm not going to be, because sometimes Coach Lopez talks about this thing called the energy bus. You don't want to be that bad apple on the bus and make it fun for everyone. It's still fun, even though I'm on the bench. I'm still playing. I'd rather be on the bench and be winning than playing and losing all the time. So I saw it from that perception. Also, since I wasn't playing that much, it gave me more time to work on my game and get better from there. And not playing and hearing all the things I heard that year in LaSalle, that last year, it really motivated me that offseason to work hard. And I was a big boy back in the day too. I was like 250, around that weight, 260. I doubt I would be, I'm not healthy now, but I doubt I'd be as light as I am or as skillful as I am if it wasn't for that. So I wouldn't change it at all by any means.
Yeah. So you mentioned that was a great perspective, that even at the bench role, you were looking at it as a positive sign in order to learn from your teammates or your opponents because of this sacrifice that you made for your team. So what were the notable things that you really saw in yourself or in your game that you really worked on, that you mentioned in the off season, that was really helped you in the PBA?
I think the big thing for me was my conditioning and my fitness, because I was a big boy. Like, you can do that in college, like that flew around in college, but that's not going to fly in the PBA. So that was my big thing, is my conditioning and physical fitness, and also probably my IQ and watching film and studying, because during my workouts, sometimes I'd work out on things you don't actually do in the game. So I'd watch where do I get my shots from? Where can I improve here or there? But the big thing was health, though, because I can apply good play for maybe in LaSalle. I'd be able to play for 2 or 3 quarters, but not 4 quarters. And something Matthew Wright told me before. No. Gabe. One time I think I asked Gabe, like, who was the best player you played against? I think he said Nicholas Batum was one of the great ones. And the big difference, he said, is that he can apply that play for the whole game. He's playing the same way, just peak the whole game. And that's something I want to, I'm not there yet, but that's something I hope to achieve. But that's probably the big difference. Also in college, I was very undisciplined. I was eating really, there's a burger machine across the street in front of Plato on tap, you know? I'd be there every night, all the time. Like, that's all I was eating. So, yeah, probably health, because I didn't realize how important longevity is. So probably health-wise.
Yeah, that's great for you to also know to do the change that you did, because now in the PBA it really helped. Like I could see like the movement you had. Like you're not like Calvin's kind of shiftiness and his stamina, but then you've improved a lot compared to in La Salle. Like now I could see you could play 40 minutes if Coach Topek says game 7. Or you play like almost the whole game. I'm pretty sure you can without getting too exhausted. You'll get exhausted after, but like during the game it won't show, and like it won't take a dip in your production in the second half or something. And maybe if you didn't do that change, you won't be able to do that in the PBA. So that's great that you had that mindset in order to improve on your game in the PBA. Yeah.
You know, one time, sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, it's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
I went to I forgot who I think Coach Kaloy brought me into a rain or shine practice one time, just to see what it was like. And then we did this drill where we switch up. We're running a pick and roll, and then we switch. I switched my first time in practice. Of all people, I switched on to Paul Lee. So when Paul Lee switches me, he gets that. I don't know if you know, but some guards when they switch on a bigs, they get this look, you know, like they just want to go down. So when the guard takes 2 dribbles backwards to set you up, he's about to do something. This guy crossed me so bad. I almost fell, and then I subbed. I walked off the court, and I was like, "Man, this isn't happening. I can't cut it right now with how I'm moving." Yeah. Because when he was on Rain or Shine, he wasn't fit like today. Yeah. He was kind of a bigger boy, but he was still moving like that. Yeah. So I was like, man, I need to do something if I want to be able to fit in this league. So yeah, that was huge for me, that experience.
Yeah, and you mentioned you improved a lot, like conditioning wise, even skill wise. So how did you do like a gradual progress of your development, condition wise, and also skill wise over the course of your PBA career? Because you've been in the league for like 4 or 5 years now, and that's already pretty long for a lot of the PBA players. And the development of your game's been very evident. So how did you do that? How do you have that slow progress of developing it on different facets of your game?
I think it started with my girlfriend. She's very into fitness. So that's where I started learning about it, because she counts her macros, her calories, meal preps, all that stuff. So that's where I introduced the world to seeing that. And then my first trainer, his name is Diego Lozano. I think he's a trainer for the coach for Morocco now. Yeah. I started working out with him. He started teaching me about it. Like before, my diet was a big can of tuna, a ton of rice, C2, the apple C2. I thought that was healthy, which it's not at all. They promote it as it is. But I'd be in Agno eating like the eggs with the melted cheese. I thought that was good for you. You know, the ate ricas. You know, every day. Yeah. But once I started learning about that, I mean, it was a long progression. After I was learning about that, I started applying the diet, and then the hard work came in. I started seeing Willie Wilson work out at it was called House of Pain or House of Playa or something. His name was Coach John. I saw Willie Wilson there working out. James Yap used to work out. Ollie Peak. So I saw their whole process to that. So maybe for a 3-year span, I was in this mode of get after it, keep hammering away. So that's where my mindset got kind of crazy. That's where I started waking up really early and working out so hard. But after my first year in the PBA, I was like, because even before PBA games, I'd still wake up at 5 a.m., workout, rest, go shoot again, and then go to the PBA game. And I was like, man, I need to learn how to conserve my energy as well. So now I'm at the point where I'm smart about it. And when I don't know something, I have professionals and people who are good at it to where I'm comfortable and I can ask them, is this good for you? Can I do this? Can I do that? That's really one of the benefits of being a PBA player is we have staff and team and friends, and we're surrounded by groups of people who know what they're doing, and we can just ask, hey, is this good for me? Like, there's so much little meticulous details that you can apply to your health and your mental, like meditation, focusing, even the music you listen to after a game matters, or what you watch or what you see. So now before it was learning, working hard, and then just being smart about it.
Yeah. How did you have the mindset of being like obedient and open to listen to these individuals? Like even if you're a PBA player, sometimes for others it's gonna be tough since like you're already a star and you wanna prove your own self, like you could do it on your own. But then you're very open and like you listen to a lot of people that are there willing to help you, like your girlfriend and certain coaches and other
Yeah.
gyms, and you see people there working out. So how do you have that mindset of being open and being obedient and learning from these people?
Something I learned from my mother when I was younger is to always listen, and you could learn something from everyone. It might not be, even you could learn from someone's mistakes. Like, you can learn something from everyone. It might not be good, it might not be bad. Everyone has something to teach, and I'm open-minded to hear what people have to say, but also I closed my circle. I got a small circle of people I trust and I believe in. I think that's what's so important about coaches, is that if you have a coach, something with Diego and even my wife now and Mark Jelly, is a reason why I stick with them, is because I trust them and I believe what they're saying. So trust is very important. But I mean, everyone has something different to contribute. Everyone has different experiences that you can feed off, whether good or bad. So yeah, just really open-minded to that.
Yeah, and then that's been really great because you guys experienced great success with Coach Louis initially, and then now Coach Topex with Phoenix. So, initially with Coach, or you got drafted by Phoenix, and then you got drafted by Coach Louis, and you guys made the semis, I think, once. Then Coach Topex suddenly was the new coach of the team. How's your experience from Coach Louis and then transitioning right away? Like in a few years, you were ready with Coach Topex right away.
Coach Louis is very old school. He's very hardworking. He just believes in just putting the time in the gym, or in his case, the locker room, studying. Coach, pretty much just putting the effort in. Coach Louis was very much about effort. With Coach Topex, he's about effort too, but Coach Topex really wants us to grow as men and individuals. Coach Topex, he knows what his purpose is. He stays true to himself, and he wants us to rub off onto us. He wants us to take care of our body. He cares about our future very much. Not that I'm saying Coach Louis doesn't care about our future.
Yeah.
But Coach Topex really emphasizes who we are as people, as a family, how we treat one another, how we treat others. Coach Topex is a coach. He's kind of like my therapist. He's kind of like our therapist too. Coach Topex is one of those guys.
I'm curious how Coach Topex develops that bond. Like, I don't know if he has it with every player, but it's like with Lyceum, he was close with the Marcelino twins, with CJ, with Mark Zuzu and Jasper Ayala and all these people.
Yeah.
And then now with Phoenix, it's like he's close with Matt. Like there was a game he benched Matt first 6 minutes, and then Matt didn't care and still scored 25 or 30 points. And then but he was like experimenting with some lineup combinations, and like Matt didn't complain at all. I was like, wow, that's so cool. Like superstar still trusts Coach Topex. How does he develop it with you guys? Like individually, even that's hard because how many are you guys in the team?
Yeah, I think he just has honest conversations, and he stays true to himself, and we, at the end of the day, we trust him, and we know that he wants the best for us. I can really say, I can't say this about many coaches or even people at that, but I really love Coach Topex. Like, he's a great guy, a great coach. I wish everyone has the opportunity to speak, just have a conversation with Coach Topex and meet him. I think he has a vlog too, or a podcast or something. I wish everyone can listen to what he has to say. If you have a question or something, because he's experienced, he's been around, and he'll be honest. Not a lot of people can be honest nowadays. A lot of people have a wall, when they speak, and Coach Topex doesn't do small talk. He has real, honest. If it has to be uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable conversations, and that's something we all appreciate about Coach Topex.
Yeah. So how about you personally? What are some of the best conversations or the best advice he's given you, whether that may be on the court or off the court, that would really stick to you? Like even now, you know that you'll really remember it even for the rest of your life.
Probably to be yourself, and use your best judgment. Those are the two rules, probably, or no, three. The three things: be yourself, use your best judgment, and invest in yourself. Grow, keep growing,
Mhm.
keep reading books, keep learning. And if you don't invest in, while you're investing in yourself, invest in others, invest in relationships with others, get to know people, ask them questions, have these type of conversations one-on-one, with nothing there, just staring another person in the eye, having a conversation, getting to know them. So those three things I'll keep with me forever, and hopefully I want to pass it down to my kids, but he keeps it very simple, like before the season, before I started playing for Coach Topex, he said, "You guys, we have one rule, and that's use your best judgment."
Mhm.
And that's, once you use your best judgment, you're being yourself, and then he'll understand your intentions
Mhm.
after that.
Yeah. How about in the court? Like his coaching style is fun. Like you guys trap a lot, press. I mean, it's like a college kind of thing, but you guys like with Banquero, right? It's kind of hard to cross the ball if they're pressing you. RJ Hasul also,
Yeah,
and it's like a free flowing game, like you mentioned. You could use to say use your best judgment. He gives you the ball a lot, so it's up to you if you'd go 1-on-1 or kick it
yeah,
out. Like
yeah,
against Ginebra, even when you lost in the elimination round, you scored 30. Like you were dominating the post because Japet was injured, I think, on that game. So I think he gave you the freedom to do whatever you want on the paint or from
yeah.
three. And that's really great way of coaching, in my opinion. But then for you, how you describe his coaching style in like simpler terms or in a way that the people will understand it more?
Yeah. Hard to explain, because in the moment I don't really pay attention to it too much, to
Mm-hmm.
recount it.
Mm-hmm.
But he adjusts very well. He's kind of like water, if something happens, he can adjust. We can take any shape or form. We can take what a team gives us, or make the situation happen for ourselves. But something he did well, or does well as a coach, is he surrounds himself with great coaches as well, with a great coaching staff. Like I said, if I don't know something, I'll ask someone who does know.
Mm-hmm.
He got a coaching staff who is great at defense, is great at coaching staff, who's great at doing film. Someone's great with skill workouts. Something's great with defense.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of like the oracle of all that to guide everything, I guess. But something he's great at too in games is he keeps us all level-headed, keeps us calm and focused on our task at hand.
Yeah, it's a great way for you guys, and it's only in this early part of his stint with you guys, and I don't expect him to. I still continue to make. I still continue to expect him to be the head coach of the Phoenix LPG, and you guys have a great core. And for you individually, and for you as a team, what should the fans look forward to in terms of the way you guys are going to improve for the upcoming conference, especially since you guys were ninth, and there's a lot of ways for you guys to improve. So, what should the
Yeah.
fans look forward to in terms of you individually and the team?
Um, Honestly, I guess don't expect anything. Don't expect anything, because something, especially during the last two bubbles, something I experienced is you never know what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
Like, a lot of crazy stuff happens that I can't say out loud, but a lot of weird stuff happens, and you really never know is what's gonna happen. So you can't really have too much expectations. But with me and as a team, I know we're gonna be prepared the best we can with what we're given.
Okay, that's really great to hear. Excited to watch you guys in the next season. But then before we wrap up, I ask my guests these questions. Like it's a set of questions that I'd want to ask you as well. So the first is, if you watch the NBA, like in the bubble, the players were very vocal in with the social and political issues in their country, such as the Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd incident, and even with the elections, with the Joe Biden Donald Trump elections. And here in the Philippines, I noticed that the athletes aren't as vocal as they are in the US. And now in the upcoming elections, now they're increasing already their way of using social media as a platform to promote vote, telling people how to vote, educating them. And even with social issues, athletes are becoming more vocal. But then before, or like, there's still a lot of ways to improve. And before, we weren't that vocal compared to the Americans. So for you, what's your thoughts on local athletes like you? Since you guys have a huge following, you can have a huge influence on the people. What's your thoughts on that? And you guys, yeah, talking about social and political issues and mixing it with being an athlete as well.
I think it's great because we have a huge platform, a lot of followers. A lot of PBA players have a really, really big voice. You know? But something I hope with athletes when they speak about political issues is that they know what they're talking about, and they believe in it, and there's no other hidden intentions behind what they're saying. No other advantages for them. But with me personally, when it comes to that stuff, I'm not even on social media at all, so I have no clue what's going on. And I'm not good with politics, so I'm not gonna speak on it. But those players that do know what they're talking about and they are passionate about it and they take their time to research and form a real logical decision and intentions of what they're saying, I think it's great. You know, I think it's no problem with that. But you know, versus an athlete or you know a doctor saying it too, I believe it's the same thing. You know, they should just know what they're speaking about though on and be knowledgeable on it.
Yeah, for sure. There could be a lot of mistakes if you're tweeting or posting on your IG story about certain issues, and then you have like 100,000 followers, and then a lot of them believe you, and it causes more trouble. That's really tough. I think you gotta be more educated and more knowledgeable when you post. Make you just be extra careful, I guess. And but it's gonna help if you're very like persistent and looking for change and what you believe in, and you express it to your followers. It's also a great way if you're really educated. So I like that part when you said. Yeah. And so for the next question, if I give you the chance to have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, who would you choose? And it could be anyone, not necessarily athletes only.
Oh, you watch all the smoke.
I watch all the episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 people. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle. I'd like to have my mom there because she's always talking some nonsense. You need some of that at the table.
Yeah.
Who else? Gandhi.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And maybe Obama or one of the presidents, Donald Trump. I don't know, because I want to know if there's. I want to know some of those secrets they got in the White House. I know.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I know they got some secrets. I want to know about the aliens. I want to know about it all.
Yeah, it's more than a dinner. You need to have a longer conversation with them if you want to know a lot about it. Yeah. So for the final question, yeah, it's like since you watch all the smoke, you know it already. And I since you know that I message people like how I messaged you on Facebook and to guests on my podcast, and that's what I do with all my guests. Like I just message them and then hope they reply or follow up if they haven't replied. Yeah. And I tackle a lot of sports also, not only basketball, like volleyball and all the Olympians and all the other sports. So who do you think I should invite here? And who are some of the people that you think I should invite here on my podcast that would provide a great story or great person to talk to?
Um, did you talk to Jerron yet?
No, not yet.
You know what? I would either talk to Jerron or this guy, Matthew Wright.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
can call. I can ask Jerron for you. Probably Jerron.
Okay, I can message you about it later after we record. But yeah, sure. That'll be much appreciated if he'd be like, yeah, their team's not in the playoffs, so maybe they have more time to talk in my podcast. So yeah, I'll hope I can get them on my podcast. So
Yep.
yeah, that's it. Thank you so much again, Jason, for joining me here on my podcast. And do you have any final message before you go?
It was really nice meeting you. It was nice having a conversation with you. Thank you for inviting me. And to everyone, I hope everyone's all good and enjoying their time.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I learned a lot, especially with your stories. Even if you thought that you were talking too much about it, I really like it. That's what podcasts are for. It's not the stuff you share on like national media, or like the media, like in Signal or in ABS-CBN or GMA. It's like that's why I like podcasts. You could share. There's no time limit. You can share whatever you want.
Yeah,
You guys
exactly.
learn a lot from it. So that's really great. So before you go, is it okay if we take a picture?
Yeah, man, for sure.
Okay, I'll take it from here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you so much again, Jason, for joining me here on my podcast, and stay safe.
You too, man. Have a good one.